The sun had barely risen over the shimmering skyline, yet the tension in the air was already palpable. Fans are shocked, whispers are spreading, and what started as a seemingly innocent getaway has spiraled into a storm no one saw coming. Kirk and Jasmine, the couple whose public appearances are usually picture perfect, were spotted at a luxury couples hotel, but this was no ordinary vacation. Sources claim that as Rasheeda arrived just moments later, what was supposed to be a romantic retreat turned into a scene straight out of a reality TV nightmare. Emotions ran high, voices were raised, and the hotel lobby reportedly became a battlefield of accusations and stunned bystanders. Imagine walking into a room and finding someone you trust in a situation that leaves your heart racing and your mind spinning. This is exactly what Rasheeda faced. The tension between these three is palpable, and fans can't stop speculating. Who said what? Who betrayed whom? The family was left divided, friends are whispering, and social media is already ablaze with theories, screenshots, and fiery comments. Every glance, every hesitant step, every whispered word between Kirk and Jasmine was scrutinized, while Rasheeda's arrival escalated the drama to a level no one anticipated. It's a story of love, deception, and shocking revelations, and tonight, we're peeling back the curtain on every twist, every confrontation, and every emotional unraveling. You won't believe what happened next. The moment Kirk and Jasmine walked into the couple's hotel, something in the air shifted, almost as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Fans are shocked, because what should have been a serene getaway quickly spiraled into a tense atmosphere charged with unspoken words and visible glances. Kirk, usually calm and collected, seemed unusually distracted, constantly checking his phone, whispering with Jasmine, and laughing at things that weren't funny. Jasmine, on the other hand, was radiant, but there was a nervous edge to her smile, a slight tension in her shoulders that hinted at the storm brewing just beneath the surface. Hotel staff later revealed that the couple reserved the penthouse suite, a space designed for privacy and luxury. Yet little did they know that privacy was about to be shattered in the most dramatic way imaginable. As Kirk leaned against the marble counter, pretending to examine the minibar, his eyes darted repeatedly toward the entrance. Fans are shocked, because those who were watching from nearby noticed the subtle hand gestures, the quick glances, and the way Jasmine's laughter occasionally faltered, as though she knew something unexpected was coming. In the lounge, other hotel guests whispered, sensing the tension, wondering if the famous couple's chemistry was as perfect as it appeared on social media. Little did anyone know, Rasheeda's arrival was imminent, and when she entered the lobby, the energy shifted in an instant. Rasheeda, carrying her designer bag and a glare that could pierce steel, stepped into the hotel with a determination that left onlookers stunned. Emotions ran high as she scanned the room, immediately spotting Kirk and Jasmine near the elevator. A witness described it as a moment frozen in time. It was like someone flipped a switch. Kirk and Jasmine's conversation stopped mid-sentence, and their smiles disappeared. Rasheeda's presence filled the entire space, and you could feel the tension like electricity in the air. Fans are shocked, because the usual warmth between Kirk and Rasheeda seemed non-existent. Instead, there was an undeniable chill, a silent accusation hanging between them. The confrontation began subtly. Rasheeda approached, her voice calm but laced with underlying fury. "Kirk," she said, and the single word carried the weight of 1,000 questions. Kirk turned slowly, his casual demeanor faltering, eyes widening slightly as he realized Rasheeda had arrived. Jasmine tensed beside him, fingers fidgeting, heart racing. "Rasheeda," Kirk managed, his tone uncertain, almost defensive. The lobby, once filled with casual chatter and the soft clink of glasses, went silent. Other guests pretended not to notice, yet whispers traveled faster than any news outlet could report. Rasheeda's gaze shifted to Jasmine, and the tension escalated. Fans are shocked, because the silent exchange between the two women was electric. Jasmine smiled nervously, attempting politeness, while Rasheeda's lips pressed into a thin line. "I didn't expect to see you here," Rasheeda finally said, each word deliberate, sharp, and heavy with implication. Kirk tried to step in, placing a hand lightly on Jasmine's back, but the gesture only seemed to heighten Rasheeda's ire. The hotel air felt thick, as though everyone present could sense a revelation about to unfold. As they moved toward the elevator, voices grew louder, more tense. Kirk attempted to explain, stammering, "It's not what it looks like," but Rasheeda interrupted sharply, her voice cutting through the murmurs of onlookers. "Don't. Just don't." Fans are shocked, because the power in her tone silenced Kirk instantly. He lowered his gaze, his confident mask slipping, revealing worry, guilt, and something else, fear. Jasmine's hand trembled slightly, brushing against Kirk's arm. Unsure whether to retreat or stay, caught in a whirlwind of emotions she could barely understand. The trio entered the elevator, the space small, intimate, yet impossibly tense. Kirk tried to break the silence, making small talk about the hotel, the weather, the fun plans, but Rasheeda's eyes never left him. She could feel the weight of every word unspoken, every gesture, every look exchanged between Kirk and Jasmine before she arrived. Fans are shocked, because from the outside, it seemed like a casual hotel encounter. But inside, it was a storm of suspicion, accusation, and emotional confrontation. Outside the elevator, the hotel hallway became the stage for what some are calling the most dramatic encounter of the year. Rasheeda stopped abruptly, turning to face Kirk and Jasmine fully. "I want the truth," she demanded, her voice trembling with controlled anger. Kirk inhaled sharply, trying to maintain composure. "Rasheeda, you have to believe me. It's not." She cut him off, eyes flashing. "Every time I look at you, Kirk, I wonder what else I'm missing. And now, here, in front of everyone, I see it." Fans are shocked, because the accusation hung in the air like smoke, leaving everyone wondering if years of trust had crumbled in mere seconds. The argument escalated as words became sharper, more personal. Kirk tried to defend himself, gestures flailing slightly, but Rasheeda wasn't letting up. Jasmine, caught in the crossfire, whispered softly, "Rasheeda, I swear." "There's nothing," but her voice barely registered. Emotions ran high, as the trio's personal drama unfolded for all to see. Witnesses later admitted they were torn between intervening and watching. Because the scene was so charged, it was impossible to look away. As the confrontation reached its peak, a hotel staff member accidentally entered the hallway, carrying a tray of champagne. The sudden appearance startled everyone, providing a brief, awkward pause. Kirk took the moment to try reasoning again, but Rasheeda's glare was unrelenting. "You always find ways to hide the truth," she spat, tears threatening to spill. Jasmine's hand shook as she reached out, trying to calm both parties. But it was clear this was beyond reconciliation in that moment. Fans are shocked, because the mix of anger, hurt, and betrayal was palpable, leaving a mark that no amount of public relations spin could erase. After what felt like an eternity, Rasheeda finally turned, storming down the hallway, leaving Kirk and Jasmine standing frozen, guilt and confusion painted across their faces. The incident quickly became fodder for social media, with fans dissecting every frame of the encounter, sharing theories, memes, and heated opinions. Insiders hinted that this was just the beginning, that secrets long buried were now surfacing, threatening to unravel relationships, friendships, and reputations alike. Kirk and Jasmine retreated to their suite, but the energy from the confrontation lingered, a silent reminder that the hotel trip, meant for romance, had instead become a battleground of emotions, lies, and shocking revelations. As the night progressed, whispers of what had transpired reached every corner of the celebrity community. Friends of Rasheeda expressed concern, some offering support, others speculating about the fallout. Kirk's phone never stopped buzzing, messages and missed calls piling up as people demanded answers. Jasmine, usually unflappable in the public eye, spent hours pacing the suite, replaying every interaction, every word exchanged, wondering if this trip would mark the end of the image they had carefully curated. Fans are shocked, because behind closed doors, the glamorous veneer had cracked, revealing vulnerabilities, betrayals, and the raw truth of human emotion. This first evening at the hotel set the stage for what insiders say will be a series of confrontations and revelations that could redefine friendships, partnerships, and public perception. The luxury getaway, intended as an escape, became the epicenter of scandal, leaving all involved questioning loyalties, intentions, and the thin line between love and betrayal. Fans are shocked, because no one saw the twists coming, and as cameras, phones, and whispers documented every moment, it became clear that the drama was far from over. Kirk and Jasmine's attempt to maintain normalcy clashed violently with Rasheeda's demand for accountability, setting in motion a chain reaction of events that would engulf everyone in a whirlwind of emotion, confrontation, and shocking twists. As dawn approached, the tension from the previous night had not dissipated. Instead, it had transformed into a heavy cloud of uncertainty hanging over the hotel. Kirk and Jasmine, still confined to the suite, tried to regroup, but every glance, every whispered conversation seemed loaded with guilt and apprehension. Jasmine paced back and forth, phone in hand, reading the flurry of messages from fans, friends, and even strangers speculating about the confrontation. Kirk sat on the edge of the king-size bed, head in hands, replaying Rasheeda's piercing glare and cutting words over and over in his mind. Fans are shocked, because what appeared to be a simple getaway had now spiraled into a highly charged emotional labyrinth with no clear escape. The morning sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, but it offered no warmth or comfort. Instead, it highlighted the tense expressions, the sweat on brows from restless sleep, and the lingering shadows of arguments that had shaken the very foundation of relationships. Kirk attempted to break the silence, voice low and trembling. "We need to figure out how to fix this, Jasmine. We can't let it spiral." Jasmine shook her head, bitter laughter escaping her lips. "Fix this, Kirk." She walked in. She saw everything. "And I don't even know what I saw. It's like the ground beneath us shifted, and there's no way to put it back." Fans are shocked, because behind closed doors, even those accustomed to drama seemed powerless against the raw force of emotion and human complexity that had erupted. Outside the suite, the hotel staff whispered nervously about the commotion, recalling the heated arguments in the hallways, the icy stares, and the moments when it felt like time had stopped. A bellhop admitted later that the scene was like watching a slow-motion train wreck. Each glance and gesture amplified, each word heavy with tension. Kirk and Jasmine, trying to maintain composure, attempted to step out for breakfast. But the lobby, though calm, felt suffocating. Every staff member, every guest seemed to be silently aware of the storm that had passed through their space. The tension so palpable it was almost visible. Fans are shocked, because even in the early morning calm, the emotional ripples of last night's confrontation continued to radiate outward. Rasheeda, meanwhile, had returned to her own hotel suite after storming the hallway, but her thoughts were relentless. She paced, her reflection in the mirrored walls catching every subtle expression of frustration, betrayal, and hurt. "How could he?" she muttered repeatedly, voice cracking. Her close friends called, offering sympathy and advice, but even their words couldn't calm the tempest inside. Every detail of the encounter was dissected, every gesture of Kirk and Jasmine analyzed, leaving Rasheeda questioning everything she thought she knew about loyalty, trust, and transparency. Fans are shocked, because the emotional stakes were high not just for those involved, but for everyone watching the drama unfold in real time, trying to piece together truth from speculation. Later that day, Kirk attempted to call Rasheeda, hoping to clarify, to explain, to salvage some semblance of normalcy. The phone rang once, twice, and then went to voicemail. He left a message, voice quivering, "Rasheeda, please, just hear me out. It's not what you think. I swear, I never meant for this to happen." Silence followed, and in that silence, Kirk felt the weight of consequence settle over him. Jasmine sat beside him, trying to offer comfort. But her own guilt made her hesitant, her eyes avoiding his as though looking would somehow confirm the chaos they were entwined in. Fans are shocked, because the balance of power in personal relationships had shifted, leaving both parties vulnerable, uncertain, and painfully exposed. As the afternoon progressed, whispers of the incident began circulating through social media. Screenshots of nearby hotel guests' posts, rumors, and even fabricated fan accounts spread at a dizzying pace. Kirk and Jasmine scrolled through the endless commentary, eyes widening at some of the accusations and fan theories. Each post, each comment, each rumor felt like another layer of pressure. Another reminder that their private lives were no longer private. The couple tried to focus on mundane activities, ordering room service, walking through the hotel gardens, but every movement was shadowed by last night's tension and today's relentless speculation. Fans are shocked, because the intimate struggle between these three individuals had now spilled into the public arena, magnifying every emotion, every misstep, and every whispered conversation into a spectacle of dramatic proportions. By evening, Rasheeda made a decision. She wouldn't allow the narrative to be controlled by silence, social media, or speculative gossip. Instead, she called Kirk, letting the phone ring multiple times before he finally answered, voice barely above a whisper. "Rasheeda," Kirk said cautiously, "please, let's talk." She inhaled sharply, a mix of anger and determination shaping every word. "Kirk, you need to tell me everything. I want the truth, every detail, every word that was said before I walked in. No excuses, no half-truths." Kirk's heart raced, every second of delay stretching like an eternity. He began recounting the evening, the laughter, the whispered exchanges, the moments that seemed innocent at the time but now appeared incriminating under Rasheeda's scrutiny. Fans are shocked, because the intensity of this conversation revealed the raw, unfiltered vulnerability of relationships under the glare of suspicion and judgment. Jasmine, left in the suite, listened silently as Kirk spoke on the phone. Her stomach churned with unease, heart pounding, and palms sweating. The room felt stifling, the walls closing in with every passing moment. Fans are shocked, because the emotional weight on Jasmine's shoulders mirrored the tension in Rasheeda's voice, creating a triad of anxiety, betrayal, and unspoken conflict that seemed almost too volatile to contain. It was as if the hotel itself had become a silent witness to the unraveling of trust, intimacy, and composure, each echo of footsteps, each shifting gaze, amplifying the gravity of the situation. As night fell, the first fireworks of confrontation began in earnest. Rasheeda, not willing to wait, decided to confront Jasmine directly, arranging a discreet meeting in a secluded hotel lounge. Kirk was warned but could do little to intervene, caught between the two women, his words, gestures, and intentions scrutinized from both sides. When Rasheeda arrived, Jasmine's nervous smile faltered, tension radiating from every movement. Fans are shocked, because what should have been a simple conversation became an emotional minefield of accusations, denials, and barely contained fury. The ensuing dialogue crackled with intensity, every word laced with implication, betrayal, and hurt that no reconciliation could erase immediately. The night stretched on, conversations looping, emotions cycling, and tension building like a storm ready to break. Kirk sat in the suite, reflecting on every action, every choice, and every glance that had led them here. Jasmine tried to soothe the situation, but her words often seemed to fan the flames rather than calm them. Fans are shocked, because the intricate web of relationships, trust, and public perception was unraveling at a pace that left everyone involved emotionally exhausted and mentally strained. Each interaction, each whispered apology, each defensive statement added layers to a drama that seemed destined to dominate headlines, social feeds, and conversations for weeks to come. By the early hours, the hotel that had promised luxury, intimacy, and privacy had become a battlefield of emotions, perceptions, and high-stakes personal drama. Kirk, Jasmine, and Rasheeda were left to navigate a minefield of feelings, accusations, and public scrutiny that would leave no heart untouched, no trust untested, and no secret unexamined. Fans are shocked, because in the world of celebrity, where appearances often mask reality, the line between personal heartbreak and public spectacle had blurred entirely, leaving everyone involved exposed, vulnerable, and trapped in a whirlwind of drama that showed no signs of slowing. The following morning brought no relief. Instead, it amplified the tension that had been simmering since the initial confrontation. Kirk and Jasmine, still confined to the suite, awoke to the persistent buzz of notifications, messages from friends, fans, and media outlets dissecting every second of the previous day. Jasmine sat on the edge of the bed, staring blankly at her phone, scrolling through comments, screenshots, and videos that fans had already pieced together. Kirk, pacing the room, ran a hand through his hair, muttering, "This is getting out of hand. It's too much." Fans are shocked, because what started as a private drama had now exploded into a full-blown public spectacle. And neither Kirk nor Jasmine seemed able to control the narrative. As they attempted to regroup, Rasheeda was not idle. She had spent the night strategizing, texting confidants, and planning her next move. Her anger had not subsided. If anything, it had sharpened, transforming into determination. "They need to face the truth," she told a close friend over the phone, voice steady yet icy. "I will not let them manipulate the story or twist the facts. I saw what happened, and they need to be accountable." Fans are shocked, because Rasheeda's resolve set the stage for a confrontation that promised to leave no detail hidden, no emotion unexamined, and no relationship untouched. By midday, Kirk attempted to approach Rasheeda again, hoping for a calmer discussion. He arrived at her suite, knocking softly, trying to convey a sense of composure he did not feel. Rasheeda answered, eyes narrowed, arms crossed, and the silence that followed was almost deafening. Kirk swallowed hard, voice low and deliberate. "Rasheeda, I need to explain everything. Please, just hear me out." She stepped aside, allowing him in but maintaining a guarded distance. Fans are shocked, because the room seemed charged with electricity, every gesture and word amplified by tension, suspicion, and the weight of the previous night's drama. The conversation began cautiously, Kirk recounting his perspective, trying to convey innocence and clarify misunderstandings. "Jasmine and I. It's complicated, but it's not what it looks like. We didn't mean for this to escalate," he said, each word heavy with anxiety. Rasheeda listened silently, her gaze fixed, unreadable yet penetrating. Every pause, every hesitation, every subtle inflection was dissected. Fans are shocked, because even in a controlled environment, the raw emotion of the encounter was impossible to disguise, exposing vulnerabilities that few had ever witnessed publicly. Jasmine, meanwhile, remained in the suite, reflecting on the chain of events and feeling the growing weight of responsibility. She replayed every interaction, every glance exchanged with Kirk, every subtle movement that might have contributed to the misunderstanding. Fans are shocked, because even someone outside the immediate triangle could sense the magnitude of the emotional stakes, the delicate balance of trust, and the explosive potential of any misstep. The afternoon dragged on with minimal resolution. Kirk attempted multiple phone calls, messages, and even casual texts to calm the storm, but Rasheeda's silence was deafening. When she did respond, it was brief, controlled, and cutting. "We will speak when I am ready," she typed, the words as cold as steel. Fans are shocked, because this refusal to engage immediately created an even greater sense of suspense, leaving Kirk and Jasmine in a state of limbo, emotionally stranded and desperate for clarity. Later that evening, an unplanned encounter in the hotel lounge reignited the flames. Kirk, attempting to enjoy a quiet drink, spotted Rasheeda entering with a group of friends. The tension was instant, palpable, almost suffocating. Jasmine followed shortly after, trying to maintain composure, but every step, every glance, and every facial expression betrayed the anxiety building between the three. Fans are shocked, because the public confrontation, though informal, carried all the weight of a formal showdown, with every nuance analyzed, every word amplified, and every gesture interpreted through the lens of suspicion and betrayal. As they all sat, the conversation became inevitable. Rasheeda leaned forward, voice firm. "Kirk, I need to understand why this happened. I need the truth, nothing else." Kirk exhaled sharply, realizing that any misstep could escalate the situation further. "Rasheeda, please, it's not what it looked like. Jasmine and I," he began, but Rasheeda cut him off, her eyes blazing. "No excuses, no half-truths. Everything." Now fans are shocked, because the power dynamics in the room shifted dramatically, placing Kirk in a position of vulnerability unlike anything he had experienced publicly. Jasmine, caught in the crossfire, whispered softly, "Rasheeda, please, I never intended for this to happen." Her words, though gentle, were met with a piercing silence, a tension that seemed almost unbearable. Emotions ran high as the three navigated a labyrinth of accusations, defenses, and unspoken truths. Every pause felt loaded, every glance meaningful, and every heartbeat seemed to echo the gravity of the moment. Fans are shocked, because in these moments, the carefully constructed public images of all three began to unravel, revealing raw, unfiltered humanity that few had ever witnessed. By nightfall, the trio had exhausted themselves emotionally. Whispers of the day's encounters, the tensions, and the ongoing speculation had spread like wildfire through social media, creating an ever-growing audience for a story that refused to resolve. Kirk and Jasmine returned to their suite, exhausted, anxious, and emotionally drained, while Rasheeda retreated to hers, equally worn but resolute in her determination to uncover the truth and hold those involved accountable. Fans are shocked, because this was more than a simple misunderstanding. It was a deep, complex web of emotions, loyalty, and betrayal that threatened to redefine relationships, reputations, and public perception in ways no one could have anticipated. As midnight approached, reflections turned into plotting, planning, and anticipating the next encounter. Each individual knew that the days ahead would test the boundaries of patience, trust, and emotional resilience. Kirk reviewed every choice, every word, every glance, questioning how such a personal situation had become so public, so intense, and so dramatically irreversible. Jasmine replayed every interaction, her heart heavy with the burden of unintended consequences and the fear of what lay ahead. Fans are shocked, because the emotional fallout from a single evening had the power to ripple across personal and public spheres, affecting not just those directly involved, but everyone watching, analyzing, and speculating on every detail of this escalating drama. The next morning brought an uneasy calm, a deceptive quiet that masked the storm, still raging beneath the surface. Kirk and Jasmine, still recovering from the emotional roller coaster of the previous days, tried to create a sense of normalcy, but every sound, every knock on the door, every notification on their phones reminded them that the world was watching, judging, and speculating. Jasmine sat cross-legged on the suite floor, scrolling through social media feeds, eyes wide as fans dissected every frame of yesterday's confrontation. Kirk, slouched in a chair by the window, rubbed his temples, muttering under his breath, It's like we can't even breathe without everyone watching. Fans are shocked, because what should have been a private resolution had been twisted into a public spectacle, with millions analyzing, theorizing, and spreading rumors. By mid-morning, Rasheeda had arranged for a private meeting with her closest confidants in the hotel's executive lounge. Her voice was calm but carried an unmistakable edge as she recounted the events, every word deliberate, every pause measured. "I saw exactly what happened," she told them, eyes narrowing. "They cannot lie their way out of this. We will uncover every detail, and everyone will know the truth." Fans are shocked, because Rasheeda's resolve signaled a deeper level of determination than anyone had anticipated, setting the stage for an emotional showdown that could define loyalties and reputations for weeks, if not months. Later that afternoon, Kirk attempted to mediate, arranging a neutral meeting space in the hotel garden, hoping that the serene environment might ease tensions. Jasmine followed, hands clasped tightly, shoulders tense, heart racing with anticipation. Rasheeda arrived moments later, eyes scanning Kirk and Jasmine with a mixture of suspicion, hurt, and barely contained anger. The air was thick, the silence almost suffocating, as though the hotel itself was holding its breath, aware of the emotional battlefield about to unfold. Fans are shocked, because the mere presence of these three together created an intensity that even seasoned observers described as palpable, almost electric. The conversation began cautiously, each word weighed, each gesture analyzed. Kirk tried to explain, voice steady but strained. "Rasheeda, you have to understand. Nothing happened between Jasmine and me that would betray you." Rasheeda's gaze remained fixed, unyielding, voice low but sharp. "Kirk, you need to tell me everything, without holding back. I deserve that much." Jasmine added softly, "I never meant to come between anyone. I was unaware of the tension, and I certainly didn't intend any harm." Fans are shocked, because the emotional rawness of this dialogue revealed vulnerabilities and unspoken truths that were otherwise hidden behind carefully curated public personas. As the discussion progressed, emotions escalated. Kirk, usually composed, began to show signs of strain, his voice cracking at moments, hands trembling slightly. Rasheeda's eyes glistened with unshed tears, every sentence dripping with a mixture of anger, betrayal, and a longing for clarity. Jasmine's posture stiffened, fingers fidgeting nervously as the weight of the situation pressed down. Fans are shocked, because witnessing such emotional exposure from individuals typically portrayed as controlled and unflappable was both startling and captivating. Tensions peaked when Rasheeda accused Kirk of withholding information. "How long were you planning to hide the truth?" she demanded, voice sharp as a blade. Kirk inhaled sharply, the words stuck in his throat. I didn't want to hurt anyone. I didn't know how to say it," he admitted, the confession hanging in the air like smoke. Jasmine's voice trembled as she intervened. "Please, we're all human. We're making mistakes, but that doesn't mean anything beyond what's happened here and now." Fans are shocked, because the intensity of this exchange revealed the fragility of trust, the complexity of relationships, and the deep emotional stakes at play. The afternoon faded into evening, and the trio remained locked in a delicate dance of words, glances, and gestures. Every attempt at calm discussion seemed to ignite new tensions. Kirk and Jasmine tried to navigate the conversation carefully, aware that any misstep could provoke another emotional eruption. Rasheeda, unwavering in her pursuit of truth, pressed further, asking questions that forced Kirk and Jasmine to confront uncomfortable realities about intentions, perceptions, and the impact of their actions. Fans are shocked, because this relentless pursuit of clarity, honesty, and accountability made the hotel setting feel like the center of a dramatic storm, with no clear end in sight. By nightfall, exhaustion began to creep in, but the underlying tension refused to dissipate. The three retreated to separate corners of the hotel, each processing the day's events in isolation. Kirk reflected on the precarious balance between public image and private truth. Jasmine grappled with the consequences of her presence and perceived involvement, and Rasheeda considered how best to protect herself, assert boundaries, and demand accountability. Fans are shocked, because the personal stakes were intertwined with public scrutiny, creating a high-pressure environment where every action, every word, and every decision carried enormous weight. Even as the city lights shimmered outside their windows, the hotel remained a silent witness to the ongoing drama. Whispers of the encounters, heated discussions, and emotional vulnerability spread across social media, sparking debates, theories, and viral speculation. Kirk and Jasmine attempted to maintain composure, but each notification, each comment, Each share acted as a reminder that the fallout was far from over. Fans are shocked because the intersection of private conflict and public attention had created a scenario where emotions, reputations, and relationships were all under intense scrutiny, escalating the drama to nearly unbearable levels. As the night deepened, the unresolved tension left an indelible mark on all involved. The luxury hotel, initially intended as a refuge, had instead become a stage for confrontation, emotional exposure, and the unearthing of truths long buried or ignored. Kirk, Jasmine, and Rasheeda faced the daunting task of navigating the aftermath, managing both personal feelings and public perception, while knowing that every move, every word, and every glance could fuel speculation, outrage, or further heartbreak. Fans are shocked because in this high-stakes game of trust, loyalty, and exposure, no one could predict how the next day would unfold or what new revelations might surface to shake the delicate balance yet again. As the following morning broke, the tension from the past days had evolved into a slow-burning pressure, one that pressed heavily on Kirk, Jasmine, and Rasheeda alike. The hotel corridors, once bustling with casual activity, now carried a subtle charge, as if even the walls were attuned to the emotional turbulence contained within. Kirk awoke first, tossing in the oversized suite bed, mind racing through every interaction, every accusation, every defensive glance from Rasheeda. Jasmine lay beside him, eyes open, staring at the ceiling, fingers entwined nervously, heart hammering from the weight of anticipation and dread. Fans are shocked because what should have been a restorative morning had become another stage for private tension on the verge of public exposure. By mid-morning, Rasheeda had already begun her own routines, pacing her suite while reviewing past texts, calls, and subtle signals from Kirk and Jasmine. She was calculating, deliberate, and yet emotionally raw. The juxtaposition of anger and longing evident in every movement. She muttered under her breath, "I can't let them twist this. They need to face everything." Fans are shocked because her resolve signaled a dramatic confrontation that could escalate without warning, threatening to expose secrets and strain bonds to their breaking point. Around noon, Kirk decided to approach Rasheeda for a formal conversation, arranging to meet her in the hotel's private lounge, a space chosen for its perceived neutrality. Jasmine followed, anxious, fingers twisting in her lap, aware that each step into the lounge was loaded with potential emotional landmines. When Rasheeda arrived, the tension was immediate and tangible. Eyes locked, breath shallow, every second dripping with the weight of unresolved conflict. Fans are shocked because even from the outside, the intensity of this quiet encounter seemed almost unbearable, a pressure cooker of emotions ready to explode. The dialogue began carefully, each word measured, each gesture scrutinized. Kirk, voice low but strained, attempted to clarify past misunderstandings. "Rasheeda, nothing happened beyond what you know. I swear, there's no betrayal." Rasheeda's gaze was unwavering, cutting through every syllable. "I need the full story, Kirk. No gaps, no omissions. Everything." Jasmine's voice trembled slightly as she added, "Please, I've never intended to cause harm. Everything was innocent, I promise." Fans are shocked because the intensity of raw emotion, vulnerability, and tension made the scene feel as though it were unfolding under a microscope, with each subtle movement magnified exponentially. As the conversation progressed, emotions escalated. Kirk, struggling to maintain composure, admitted hesitations and fears, his voice cracking at moments. Rasheeda's eyes shimmered with unshed tears, every word she spoke carrying the weight of frustration, anger, and the desire for unfiltered truth. Jasmine's presence, though intended as support, heightened the tension. Every glance between the two women and Kirk was a silent battle of emotion, suspicion, and unspoken questions. Fans are shocked because the delicate interplay of accusation, explanation, and defense revealed depths of emotion few had witnessed in these public figures. Tensions peaked when Rasheeda pressed for accountability. "How long were you planning to hide what happened?" she demanded, voice sharp, unrelenting. Kirk's response was hesitant, almost pleading. "I didn't want to hurt anyone. I didn't know how to explain." Jasmine attempted to interject, her soft words cutting through the tension. "We're all human. Mistakes happen, but intentions matter." Fans are shocked because this raw confrontation exposed cracks in trust and human vulnerability that contrasted sharply with the controlled images they projected publicly. Throughout the afternoon, subtle escalations kept the tension simmering. Every word, every gesture, every sidelong glance carried the potential to ignite further conflict. Kirk and Jasmine, attempting diplomacy, navigated carefully, while Rasheeda maintained a steadfast demand for clarity, truth, and transparency. Fans are shocked because the emotional stakes were enormous. Each interaction loaded with implications that could reshape relationships, reputations, and alliances. By evening, exhaustion mingled with unresolved tension. The hotel, a symbol of luxury and retreat, had become a pressure cooker of emotional exposure. Kirk reflected on every choice, every interaction, every nuance of the confrontation, while Jasmine grappled with her role, her presence, and the unintended consequences of involvement. Rasheeda, equally exhausted but resolute, considered her next steps in a landscape fraught with personal and public implications. Fans are shocked because the collision of private strife and public attention created a scenario where each decision carried weighty consequences and potential for further drama. As night descended, the unresolved issues lingered like shadows, refusing to dissipate. Notifications, social media speculation, and fan commentary continued to remind all three that their private emotional struggles were now public spectacle. Kirk, Jasmine, and Rasheeda each confronted their own vulnerabilities, reflecting on trust, communication, and the fragility of relationships exposed under scrutiny. Fans are shocked because the interplay of personal conflict and public perception created a dynamic almost impossible to navigate without error, each moment pregnant with potential revelation or escalation. By the end of the night, the trio had reached a tentative understanding that the path forward required patience, honesty, and careful navigation. Yet, even in moments of quiet reflection, the hotel remained a silent witness to the emotional battles fought and the intensity of unresolved feelings. Fans are shocked because the high-stakes drama, the unspoken truths, and the persistent tension promised that the story was far from over. With every new day potentially carrying revelations, confrontations, and shocking twists that would leave viewers captivated, divided, and hungry for the next chapter. As the drama at the couple's hotel continues to unfold, the questions keep piling up. Will Kirk and Rasheeda find a way to rebuild trust, or has the tension reached a point of no return? What role will Jasmine play moving forward, and how will fans react to every twist, turn, and revelation? The emotional stakes are higher than ever, and only time will reveal the next shocking moments in this tangled web of relationships, loyalty, and betrayal. Now, it's your turn. Tell us what you think. Do you believe Kirk's story, or is Rasheeda justified in her anger? What would you do if you were in their shoes? Like this video, subscribe to our channel for the latest updates, and comment below with your opinions, theories, and reactions. Stay tuned, because this is far from over, and the next chapter promises even more suspense, drama, and shocking revelations.